tile work doesn't show up on day one. It shows up months later when grout cracks, tiles shift, and water damage starts costing real money. The difference between a clean-looking job and correctly installed tile system comes down to what happens behind the surface. And most homeowners have no idea what to look for. Today, I'm with Ewald Hungsberg from the Tile Experts in Edmonton. They are a tile contracting company that serves the Edmonton and greater areas. So Ewald, how long have you guys been in business for?
It's been around 13, 14 years. And then before that, I was working for somebody else. But our own company, it's been 13, 14
wow,
years.
That's a long time, actually.
Yeah.
Because most small businesses fail within their first 5 years. So being able to get past 10 years is quite the milestone. So good for you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
So more than 10 years installing tile in the Edmonton area. That is a great thing to know, because there's so many people who can get into doing tile work because they did it once or they saw a YouTube video. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is how can people get expert tile installations in Edmonton with the Tile Experts and what they should be looking for. Okay. I got a statistic for you guys from the Tile Council of North America. Over 70% of tile installation failures are caused by improper substrate preparation and installation methods, and not the tile itself. I got a quote from National Tile Contractors Association. Successful tile installations aren't about speed. They're about systems, standards, and preparation. So Ewald, I'm going to jump into question number one for you. When somebody in Edmonton is searching online and they look for tile installer Edmonton or tiling contractor near me, what problems are they usually trying to avoid?
I would say they're just trying to find the right person, somebody that knows what they're doing, not someone that says that they can do it just because they say it. When you search these on Google, you get a few different companies, and you can see their reviews and see if they're good or bad. But I mean, that's what people do when they call us. They're like, oh, I found you on Google. We searched it up and we looked at your reviews and I want to get a quote. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're trying to avoid wasting their time with people who don't know what they're doing. And you guys, obviously have been around for a long enough time to be able to do, I would say, any tile installation that someone might have or any new idea. I think you guys would be the right choice for that.
Yeah, we've had a couple of people that, they say that they're looking for somebody to do work at their house, and by the way they explain what they need done, some people just tell them a random number to push them away. And then when we come in and Oscar goes and sees them in person and explains what needs to be done, they're just so relieved that at least there is someone that will do this for them, where other people are just like, no, you have to redo the whole bathroom, which costs a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other people are trying to force them into buying something they don't need. And you guys are able to come up with a solution that, works around the problem.
So yeah, it comes back to they're looking for someone they can trust.
There you go. That said it all. Okay, well, that brings me right into the next question. So what should Edmonton homeowners or people in the surrounding areas like St. Albert, Sherwood Park, Leduc be looking for when they're searching for a tile contractor?
When they're looking for someone that knows how to tile, we come into their home and see what they need done. We explain to them what the process will be like. We tell them the tile they should use for the space. Sometimes people just say, oh, I want this tile, but then it might have some issues with the installation where they won't be happy with it. But with us, with our experience, we can tell, this issue will happen around the window or in some other areas. And then that's an example from a kitchen backsplash, let's say. But when it comes to like bathrooms or anything like that, we need to also tell them, we need to do the right prep before doing the install. Think about everything before putting the tile, because that's the main reason it would fail.
That brings me right into the next question, actually. So how important is proper surface preparation before the tile installation, and what does that process actually involve?
You know, brand new homes are usually ready to go. We always just double check the spacing on the joists, because depending on that, you use different membranes like Ditra XL or Ditra regular, which is a different thickness that will give it the proper support for the tile. But yeah, we need to make sure the beginning is solid, it's all screwed down properly, and let's say we're going on top of plywood, we need to make sure it's the right thickness of plywood, and that is not something that once you go in it with your mortar is not going to just not stick to it. So we need to make sure we're using the right type of mortar, the right type of membrane, and then if it's a bigger tile, sometimes they recommend different membranes as well. So all these questions we figure out before we start so that we don't run into issues in the middle of the project.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. So when somebody is searching for a tile contractor, what are some red flags that they should be looking out for when they're looking for that person to install their tile?
Well, last time we went to an estimate, and they asked us to come in and give them a price, because the last person that came to give them the price, they set the number. Then they came in to do the job, and they're like, you know what, it's actually going to be $2,000 more. And then, you know, it's like, if you had already been here and give me a price, you should be set, unless you're opening something and seeing the problem. But this is not the case. When it comes to us, we try to be really transparent with our process, with what we're doing in your home. We don't try and hide anything. So I feel like when it comes to red flags, is pricing is a big issue, and explaining the warranty and knowing that we back up our product, that as long as they own their home, we will warranty our work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are some really great points, especially when somebody in the Edmonton region is looking for a reputable tile contractor. Ewald, can you tell me the difference between proper waterproofing systems and the shortcuts that other tiling contractors might do?
Some jobs that we've done where we come in to do repairs are because the steps they follow are just, like you said, shortcuts. So these ends up being a problem for the homeowner, and tile contractors that say they know what they're doing, they do the shortcuts, and then when it's time to come back and repair, they're gone. So these shortcuts could be like, for example, we're working at a job right now where their shower floor started leaking, and it's because in this case it was the homeowner that did the job. But like we talked about before, sometimes you look videos on YouTube and you think you can just do it all, but you miss important steps. So with us, we always check with the reps for the waterproofing systems, so that we follow the right process. For example, this job that I'm doing, I found underneath the waterproofing some plywood, and under that there was some concrete, and there was no really slope for the water to come down to the drain. So that was the main reason why they called us. They're like, hey, we're having issues with water. We're noticing next to the toilet now there is water. So I ended up pulling out the waterproofing, found all these issues, then called the Schluter rep and I said, hey, this is what's happening. What do you recommend? And something that you will back me up for. So yeah, some shortcuts will be really bad for the homeowner because it could damage a lot of areas in their home.
What are some of the most common reasons why tile installations fail in kitchens, bathrooms, entryways, those types of installations?
In some cases, we've seen where they just the installer that did the work. Sometimes they just rush through projects. They don't prep properly. So we've gone into homes where, they are doing a huge floor, and then they called us to replace a tile or two because their grout was cracking. So once we pulled these tiles up, you could just tell that when they spread their mortar, they didn't spread it properly, so it didn't bond properly into the floor. And then this had actually DITRA underneath the tile, but once we pulled out the tile, we need to replace the DITRA. And when we pulled the DITRA, it was not stuck to the subfloor. So it's even with the smallest thing, like cleaning up before you do the membrane. Some people, when they do brand new homes, the painter goes through, the drywaller goes through, and there's dust everywhere. So as a tile setter, you're supposed to come in and clean it up, make sure there is no dust, because if you put mortar on top of dust, it's just not going to stick. So yeah, that DITRA came out just like nothing without having to hammer it off. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why tiles could crack or come with issues. Another one could be we've gone to homes again to build new floors, and once we pulled this floor, we noticed that the older days they had construction subfloor, which is actually shiplap diagonal planks instead of a solid sheet of plywood. And if you go on top of that with just a little layer of plywood, it's not going to work because, there's just so much movement in between those planks. So building again and prepping before your tile, it's the most important part. If not, you're just going to find issues in the future where the tile will start popping up and grout cracking. And that's just the main reason why those tiles fail.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So proper placement, proper prep work makes for a good final product.
And yeah, screwing down the subfloor, it's a big one too. Some people just like to staple the floor. And then with time, staples are not the same as screws, right? Staples will just start pulling up. But yeah, it's all about prep work.
And that's why you're the experts.
That's right.
The tile experts. Ewald, how do you guys at the Tile Experts ensure that installations meet industry standards like TCNA? And why should the homeowners actually care about that?
It comes down to warranty. I want to say, like, for example, when we use our shower systems from Schluter, if we follow every single step that they tell us, they will warranty it, and that makes us warranty our work to the homeowner. Same with flooring or any other materials that we use. We always check with them to make sure we follow their steps and use the right products to back that up and be able to sleep at night knowing that tile is not coming up.
We've talked about a lot of things. We talked about the prep work. Now let's talk about the product itself. What's the difference between the different types of tiles, so porcelain, ceramic, natural stone, when it comes to installation process, and are there differences between them?
Porcelain, ceramic, a lot of people choose those because you don't have to worry about, stains or damages to it. And a lot of this tile now looks like natural stone, but they also come, I think they are the ones that come in bigger slabs, larger format tiles. When it comes to natural stone, I don't think they do such big tile. Some people, I want to say there is not as much people now into natural stone, but I want to say the difference between those two are that, with natural stone, you got to worry about, like I said, staining or cracking, or, last time we had someone call us because this tile, you never know, it could just after you install it with years, it'll crack and you'll see that crack. So then you need to come in back and fix it. A couple other things that you need to worry about is having to seal it within a couple, I want to say every 6 months, I believe it's the right thing to follow. That way, you know for sure your stone is protected and it's not going to start staining or getting damaged.
So we talked about the different types of tile. So there's ceramic, porcelain, natural stone. Is there any difference in how you need to install it?
The only thing that I could think of that would be is if you are using a white marble, you know, even when that gets something underneath, it could change the look. So using a white mortar instead of a gray mortar is very important because you will see that bleed through the tile. Same, and then, you know, if you are about to grout it with, let's say, black or darker gray, something not white, then you want to make sure you seal this tile before even grouting it, because you will damage the tile by not sealing it.
And then the larger tiles probably are different than like a mosaic.
Yeah, so when it comes to doing a mosaic tile on, let's say, on a floor, yes, the prep work needs to be different, where with larger tile, you just need to use regular Ditra. With a smaller mosaic, you need to use Ditra plus Curdy, because, you know, if you don't do it that way, the mosaic could actually start popping with time. This Ditra has small pockets on it, and then, you know, because the mosaics are smaller, it would just not be in the right spacing and it would just start popping. So that's why they recommend for us to use Curdy on top of Ditra.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you have an installation that you're not going to worry about. Now let's talk to homeowners who are planning a renovation in Sherwood Park or St. Albert or even in Edmonton. How early should they get the tile contractor involved in their renovation project?
I want to say as soon as they think of, hey, I'm thinking of doing my shower, it's best to call us, because there might be things that you don't think about, like, let's say, a bench in your shower, or if you want a tub or a tiled full bathroom shower, or if you want a barrierless. There's just so many things that we could come in and tell you, hey, what are you looking for in your bathroom? So yeah, it's better to call us right away so that we could talk about what you're looking to have in your bathroom and different features, niches, anything like that.
That makes perfect sense, Ewald, for you guys to come in early so you can help them with the planning and design process, especially in a bathroom or even a kitchen. Let's talk to people who are looking for a tile project that's going to, last them 20 plus years in the Edmonton area. What should they prioritize before calling a tile installer in Edmonton?
I want to say, if you're looking to get this done, you want to find the right person. So once you get into Google, or even people that refer you to us, we've had people call us, hey, I heard from someone about this other guy and I got them to install the tile in my kitchen. And now that I look at it, you don't like it. Are you able to come see it? And they're like, and by the way, we had work done from you before. So in my head, I'm like, why didn't you just call us the first time? Well, I had someone refer me to this other guy. So I'm like, why not? I'll try it. So things like that, Googling tile companies, checking the reviews, seeing the good ones, bad ones, and why there is bad ones. And, making sure that these people are reputable and you can trust them. With that, I want to say you'll find yourself a good tile contractor, and that will back their product and last you for 20 years or more.
There you go. All right. Awesome. Thanks so much, Ewald. So anybody who is living in the Edmonton area, that can be any of the neighboring communities as well, Sherwood Park, St. Albert, Leduc, Stony Plain, Spruce Grove, all the areas around Edmonton. The tile experts are happy to come out and give you a fair quote and do excellent work. They also warranty their work. So as long as you own the house, they will warranty and back their installation and the product. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on this video. And if you're looking for an expert tile installer in Edmonton, look no further than the Tile Experts.
Yes, call us.